She was photographed wearing it in a bathtub. Just the tiara, a smile, and nothing else. That single image, taken by her own husband, became the most famous photograph of Princess Margaret ever made. The tiara in that picture was the Poltimore, a dazzling Victorian masterpiece of cushion-cut diamonds and scrolling floral motifs mounted in silver and gold. It could be taken apart with a tiny screwdriver and reassembled as a diamond necklace or 11 separate brooches. It was worth a fortune, and after Margaret died, it was sold at auction for nearly £1 million to a buyer whose identity has never been revealed. That was in 2006. The Poltimore Tiara has not been seen in public since. But the tiara was only one piece in a collection of over 800 items: tiaras, pearl necklaces from Queen Mary, turquoise jewels from the Queen Mother, Fabergé clocks, antique brooches, and a ruby engagement ring designed by her ex-husband. After Margaret died, some of these treasures were sold to strangers. Some were kept by her children, and some simply vanished into a grey zone between crown property and personal inheritance where no one, not even the palace, is willing to say exactly what happened. This is the story of what became of Princess Margaret's jewels, the auction that broke her ex-husband's heart, the diamonds her daughter still wears in silence, and the granddaughter who never met her, but who now carries her ring to every royal occasion she thinks Margaret would have wanted to attend. The inheritance crisis. Princess Margaret, Countess of Snowdon, died on February 9, 2002. She was 71 years old. She had been the most glamorous woman in Britain for the better part of 4 decades. The Queen's rebellious younger sister, the one who smoked through long cigarette holders and danced until 3 in the morning and fell in love with the wrong people in ways that made the front pages shudder. She left behind 2 children from her marriage to photographer Anthony Armstrong-Jones, David, Viscount Linley, now the 2nd Earl of Snowdon, and Lady Sarah Chatto, the quiet, artistic daughter who paints watercolours and avoids cameras. She also left behind an extraordinary personal jewellery collection accumulated across a lifetime of state banquets, royal tours, birthdays, and gifts from the most powerful people on earth. And she left behind a tax bill. Unlike the sovereign, whose possessions pass free of inheritance tax, Margaret's personal estate was subject to the standard 40% levy. Her children faced a bill running into the millions. They had 2 options: pay from their own pockets or sell. They chose to sell, and it tore the family apart. According to Viscountess Hinchingbrook, Lord Snowdon, Margaret's ex-husband and the father of David and Sarah, wrote to his children begging them to stop the auction. He felt that selling Margaret's belongings was a betrayal of her memory. The family was divided, but the tax bill was real, and in the end, Christie's was given 800 items from Kensington Palace, Margaret's London home for over 4 decades, to catalogue, exhibit and sell. The auction. The sale took place at Christie's King Street in London on June 13th and 14th, 2006. Day 1 was reserved for jewellery and Fabergé, 192 lots. Day 2 covered furniture, silver and works of art, another 600 items. Christie's made a cautious initial estimate, £2 million for the entire collection. They were spectacularly wrong. Before the auction, highlights from the collection were exhibited around the world. At Wilton House near Salisbury, visitors were invited not just to look at Margaret's jewellery, but to try it on. For a fleeting moment, ordinary people could clasp a royal necklace around their throats or feel the weight of a tiara on their heads. Margaret, who spent her life navigating the line between duty and pleasure, might have appreciated the absurdity. When the gavel fell on day 1, the results were staggering. The jewellery alone netted nearly £10 million, 5 times the estimate for the entire sale. A Fabergé clock in translucent mauve enamel, a gift from Queen Mary, sold for over £1 million to an anonymous buyer. A tiny ruby and pearl necklace that Margaret had worn as a 2-year-old in a photograph brought $28,000, more than 20 times its estimate. Then came the personal items, a Victorian bee brooch accompanied by a handwritten note from Margaret that read, "Almost the first bit of jewellery given to Mum, given to me 10th February 1945, sold for $34,000. 3 of her umbrellas from the 1960s sold for over $2,000. Even 3 bottles of Kensington Palace white wine from 1976 fetched nearly £5,000. The buyers were not just acquiring objects, they were acquiring closeness to a woman who had lived more publicly than almost anyone, yet whose private world remained stubbornly her own. Every lot was a sentence in the story of her life. 1,000 bidders packed Christie's 4 video-linked rooms, joined by over 2,500 clients bidding by phone, in writing, and online. The atmosphere was electric, part auction, part memorial service, part celebrity spectacle. A 5-row Art Deco pearl and diamond necklace became one of the most emotional lots of the day. Queen Mary had given it to Margaret for her 18th birthday in 1948, and Cecil Beaton had photographed the young princess wearing it for her 19th, 20th and 21st birthday portraits, 3 of the most reproduced images in royal photographic history. The necklace was 39 centimeters long, with a diamond-mounted platinum clasp, and the pearls were graduated in 5 delicate rows. It sold for over £500,000. Somewhere in the world, a stranger now owns the necklace that framed the face of a teenage princess in what were perhaps the most carefree years of her life. But the star of the auction, the piece that made front pages around the world, was the Poltimore Tiara. The Poltimore Tiara. To understand why this tiara mattered, you need to understand the woman who wore it. The Poltimore was not a royal heirloom. It was not borrowed from the crown, not passed down from Queen Mary, not loaned by her sister. Princess Margaret bought it herself at auction in 1959 for £5,500. That act alone was a statement. She had full access to the Queen's collection, dozens of tiaras in the royal vault, any one of which she could have worn on her wedding day. She chose instead to buy her own. The tiara had been created by Garrard, the royal jeweller, around 1870 for Florence, Lady Poltimore, wife of the 2nd Baron Poltimore, who served as treasurer to Queen Victoria's household. It was a masterwork of Victorian craftsmanship, a graduated line of cushion-shaped and old-cut diamond clusters alternating with diamond-set scroll motifs mounted in silver and gold. The floral designs evoked the naturalistic style of the era, and the entire structure was ingeniously engineered. A brown silk ribbon was laced inside the framework so that only the diamonds sat above the hairline, giving the tiara an extraordinary sense of height. And it was convertible. With a small screwdriver, which came in the fitted blue leather case alongside the tiara, the diamonds could be unlatched and reconfigured as a fringe necklace or 11 individual brooches. Margaret debuted it as a necklace at the Royal Opera House before anyone even knew she was engaged. Then, on May 6, 1960, she wore the full tiara to Westminster Abbey for the first royal wedding ever broadcast on television. 300 million viewers watched as she arrived in a horse-drawn carriage, the Poltimore soaring above her immaculate Norman Hartnell gown, anchoring a cathedral-length veil of silk and tulle that billowed behind her. The tall, closed-circuit design of the tiara added inches to the petite princess's frame. She looked, quite simply, like a woman who had chosen her own crown. From that day forward, the Poltimore was Margaret's signature. She wore it to state banquets in Japan, Sweden, Spain, Oman, and the Philippines. She wore it to Silver Jubilee galas and to the state opening of Parliament. She wore it as brooches pinned to evening gowns and as a necklace draped over bare shoulders. And somewhere in the early 1960s, Her husband photographed her wearing only the tiara, smiling from a bathtub, an image so perfectly balanced between rebellion and intimacy that it became the defining photograph of her life. At Christie's in 2006, the Poltimore was estimated at £150,000 to £200,000. It sold for £926,400, nearly 5 times the high estimate, to an anonymous private Asian buyer. The total for the entire 2-day sale reached £13.6 million. The Poltimore Tiara has not been seen in public since. The jewels that were never sold. The auction told one part of the story, but what about the pieces that never reached the catalogue? The most significant absence was the Persian turquoise parure. This was a full set, tiara, necklace, earrings and brooch, made of turquoise and diamonds by Garrard around 1900. King George V had given it to Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon as a wedding gift in 1923, when she married his son, the future King George VI. The law of precious stones holds that turquoise stands for love, and the tiara's design reinforced that message with lamps of love, triumphal laurels and lovers' knots, all mounted in hand-pierced gold with platinum settings. The Queen Mother wore the parure to state banquets, royal weddings and coronation balls throughout the 1920s and 30s. She then gave the principal pieces to Princess Margaret, reportedly as a 21st birthday gift. Margaret wore the turquoise tiara for decades, to the Jamaican independence celebrations in 1962, to the Belgian state visit in 1963, to the royal film performance in 1967, and the Royal Danish Ballet Gala in 1968. After Margaret's death, the turquoise parure did not appear at Christie's. Its whereabouts remain uncertain. Some believe the Earl of Snowdon retained it. Others argue it was only ever a crown loan to Margaret and should have been returned to the royal collection. The ambiguity is maddening because the question of crown versus personal property is the invisible fault line running beneath every royal jewellery story. When a king gives his daughter-in-law a wedding gift, does it belong to her forever? Or does it belong to the institution? The answer in the British system is deliberately unclear, and that vagueness serves the palace well. It means no one outside the family can ever make a definitive claim. The turquoise tiara has not been seen in public since Margaret's death, and no member of the royal family has ever addressed its fate. But not all of Margaret's unsold jewels are mysteries. Lady Sarah Chatto, Margaret's daughter, kept a significant number of pieces. Among them are 3 antique diamond flower brooches, a wedding gift from Lord Snowdon to Margaret in 1960. In 1994, when Sarah married Daniel Chatto, fashion designer Jasper Conran spotted the brooches in Margaret's jewellery box and suggested they be transformed into a tiara. Wartsky, the London jewellers, made a frame to hold the 3 brooches, and Sarah wore the Snowdon floral tiara on her wedding day, wreathed in fresh greenery for a touch of living nature among the diamonds. Sarah also inherited the Greville pearl earrings, a diamond and pearl Riviere from Queen Mary, and diamond star earrings from her mother's collection. She wears them sparingly, but always at the moments that matter. Margaret's funeral, Queen Elizabeth's funeral in 2022, and King Charles's coronation in 2023. If you look closely at photographs of those occasions, you will find Margaret's diamonds glinting quietly at her daughter's shoulder. The ring and the granddaughter. For years, one question haunted royal jewellery collectors. What happened to Princess Margaret's engagement ring? It was not in the Christie's auction. It was not seen on anyone's hand. Anthony Armstrong-Jones had designed it himself, a ruby surrounded by a halo of round-cut diamonds arranged in the shape of a rosebud. It was a tribute to Margaret's middle name, Rose. Experts described it as small, simple and timeless, nothing like the grand sapphires and emeralds of other royal engagements. It was, by all accounts, deeply personal. In November 2025, the answer finally came from an unexpected source. Lady Margarita Armstrong-Jones, Margaret's only granddaughter, born just 3 months after the princess died, revealed in an interview with The Telegraph that the ring had been in the family all along. Her father, David, had given it to her on her 21st birthday in 2023. "It's a marguerite shape, a particular floral motif, and just so beautiful," Margarita told the paper. "The fact that it shares our name made it feel very magical." A few weeks before that birthday, she had worn the ring for the first time to the coronation of King Charles III at Westminster Abbey, the very same church where her grandmother had married her grandfather 63 years earlier on the very same date, May the 6th. "I wear it to things I think she would want to be there for," Margarita said. She is now 23 years old, studying jewelry design at the Alchemia Contemporary Jewelry School in Florence, creating pieces she describes as animalistic and raw. When asked whether Margaret would have liked her work, she paused. "It's hard to say, but I know she had a love of natural motifs and turquoise, which was her favourite colour." Her Aunt Sarah had given her boxes of costume jewellery from Kensington Palace. Her father had given her the engagement ring. And the name she carries, Margarita Elizabeth Rose, echoes her grandmother, her great-aunt, and the very flower that a young photographer once set in rubies and diamonds to win a princess's hand. Princess Margaret's jewellery collection was scattered across the world in 2 days in June 2006. Her bathtub tiara sits somewhere in a private vault, unseen and unworn. Her turquoise jewels exist in a limbo between family and crown. Her pearl necklace, the one Cecil Beaton photographed for her 19th birthday portrait, belongs to someone we will never know. But the pieces that mattered most stayed exactly where Margaret would have wanted them. The diamond flower brooches are with Sarah, who wears them at funerals and coronations with the quiet dignity her mother always admired. The rosebud ring is with Margarita, who takes it to Westminster Abbey when she thinks her grandmother would want to be there. The jewels we see in museum cases tell us about power and wealth. But the jewels a family keeps, the ones they refuse to sell, the ones they carry to churches and ceremonies, tell us about love. And love, unlike diamonds, does not need a fitted blue leather case to survive. There is a particular kind of grief that comes with scattering someone's belongings to the wind. Every object sold is a thread cut from the fabric of a life. But there is also a particular kind of grace in choosing which threads to keep. Sarah chose the flower brooches her father gave her mother on the day they promised to love each other. Margarita chose the ring her grandfather carved into the shape of a rose for a woman named Rose. Those choices say more about Princess Margaret than any auction catalogue ever could. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Poltimore tiara should have stayed in the royal family? Should it be in a museum? Or was Margaret's family right to sell it? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If this story moved you, give it a like. It genuinely helps more people discover these histories. And if you're not subscribed yet, join us. We tell the stories behind the jewels, the women who wore them, and the secrets the palace would rather keep in the vault. Thank you for watching. Until next time.